Hi there guys, Ed Barton, Crush Social Anxiety here. As you saw from that little clip, I'm out here in Bali and I just went and got myself a nice haircut, and historically that's not something I could even do. And if you're watching this, I'm sure that getting a haircut is something that you've struggled with. A lot of people with social anxiety struggle with that. And there's a few points I want to discuss today, and I want to give you 8 tips for dealing with social anxiety when you go to the hairdresser. So tip number 1 would be, don't avoid it. Don't put off going to the hairdresser because you feel fear around that and you're uncomfortable with it. Because this is something that I did. I used to get my hair cut at home by my brother and it looked shit. I looked like an idiot. And I used to also shave my head just because I wanted to avoid going to the hairdressers. So as with all things in social anxiety, do not do this. Avoidance does not serve you. It doesn't help you overcome social anxiety. It only perpetuates the problem. So don't get your hair cut at home. Don't just give it a shave all over. Keep a crew cut like I did. Number 1, you look like a bit of a dick. Number 2, it doesn't help you overcome social anxiety. Tip number 2, break the ice. And I've talked about this in other videos, and I've talked about this with overcoming social anxiety in general. I believe that just breaking the ice can make things easier, not just for you but for the other person. For example, if you're sat there in the chair, nobody's speaking, you start to go into your own head a bit, you start to get more quiet, the silence grows, and then you start to overthink and you feel that it becomes awkward. So I feel that for yourself as a social anxiety sufferer, just breaking the ice can actually ease things along and make things easier for you and stopping that kind of big tense silence growing. So, you know, any kind of BS that people trot out in the hairdresser's chair works. You know, have you been busy lately? How long is this shop open? You know, are you going away on holiday? All of that crap, it doesn't matter. Just say something to break the ice and stop, like, you know, you going down and this awkwardness growing. And that brings me on to tip number 3, which is, having broken the ice, also do not feel then that there's this burden or responsibility on you to carry the conversation constantly and to fill any silences because you feel awkward with incessant chatter. Also, allow any silences that come up and just be comfortable with that. Don't feel that there's this responsibility on you to constantly talk or fill the space. My hairdresser, I know him quite well now. He is an introverted guy. I know that from chatting to him and having my hair cut by him. I will break the ice, get a bit of a conversation going, which I find releases any tension, eases the atmosphere. You know, little silences or long silences will come up. Now I just let that happen. I just marinate in that. It's companionable silence, and I don't feel a rush to fill it because I know he's introverted and he's just doing his thing. I used to look for signs. I would be looking in the mirror at the hairdresser like, my God, is he nervous? Am I making him nervous? I think his hand's shaking. That's because I'm sketchy and awkward and it's making him awkward. Fuck. So just let any silences that come up, let them just sit there, you know. Don't feel this responsibility on you to keep pushing or filling the silence. A lot of people are introverted, a lot of people don't like to talk all the time, so if silences come up, just be comfortable with that. Tip number 4, if you do feel yourself getting tense in the chair, and I remember, you know, when I was really struggling, I would sit there and I would feel like my butt cheeks starting to tense up. That's where, you know, it often started, and then my quads would tense up, and under the cape I would be, you know, like my arms would be getting crossed, and all, you know, before I knew it I was getting knotted up into a really tense ball, and then it goes into your diaphragm and it affects your breathing. So if you feel that happening, use mindfulness, scan the body, find out where the tension is growing and start to relax that area. So if it's your butt cheeks, to try and focus on your glutes there and try and relax that out, your quads, any tension in the chest and the diaphragm. Consciously do a little mindfulness exercise and just let that relax out. And that also then feeds into tip number 5, which is breathing. If you find yourself getting anxious, you can do like a micro meditation and Just focus on releasing the breath there and getting nice deep inhalations into the lower abdomen, which is your tanden in Zen Buddhism. It's a point 2 inches below the navel, and that's your Zen center of gravity. So take deep breaths into the lower abdomen and just release any tension that's coming in there. And this is especially useful instead of being in your head and thinking, fuck, is he, you know, made awkward by me? What should I say next? What's going on? Looking in the mirror and then this kind of spiral building up, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Instead of getting into your head, get into your body, you know, so you've released that tension in the muscles out. Just do a meditation where you go into your breath. And you know, that's useful if you feel an awkwardness in the silence. If you're not comfortable in the silence, just go into that breathing and relax yourself instead of getting caught up in your head. Tip number 6 is to do with the mirror. And of course, as a social anxiety sufferer, and as I used to hate my appearance. I loathed myself for many, many years. I had something that I believe was bordering on body dysmorphic disorder, which is, you know, where you don't even see yourself as other people do. You're obsessed with your appearance and you hate how you look. I used to feel that I was a grotesquely ugly freak. So sitting down in front of a mirror for 25-30 minutes while I had to look at myself was extremely uncomfortable, and I'm sure if you're watching this you've experienced that. So this tip is about learning to try and make peace with the mirror, okay? Try and find stuff instead of avoiding and looking down and thinking, my God, I don't want to look at myself, I look horrible. Try and find something in the mirror that you can appreciate about yourself. So for me, it was really, I started to learn to like appreciate the architecture of my bone structure. Like here, I had good cheekbones and a good shape here, and you know, stuff like that. There was stuff that I hated before. I was like big ears, big nose, massive forehead, tiny shrunken eyes. And this is like a cognitive bias where you focus all your attention there and that's all you see. Try and switch the bias and the attention, the focus of your attention onto things that you like and you can learn to love about yourself. Maybe it's the shape of your eyebrows. You've got a good arch on your eyebrows, or a nice chin, or you know, whatever it is. It can be really minute things. And Neil Strauss, the author of The Game and a guy who's done a lot of good work and writing on inner game and building your self-esteem, he always wrote about how he really loved the dents in his forehead here, and he thought they looked very distinguished, and that was a source of esteem and confidence for him. Even though he was small, 5'6", skinny, bald, had a high-pitched voice and a big nose, he could focus on this very small thing which gave him confidence, and he thought, yeah, that's something that I feel good about myself. So try and find stuff in the mirror that you can appreciate. Number 7, learn to say no. Get the haircut that you actually want, okay? This is very important. It's about self-assertiveness, and Nathaniel Branden has written about this in his books on self-esteem, and being self-assertive is a very important part of becoming more confident, having higher self-esteem, and overcoming social anxiety. And if you're a social anxiety sufferer like I was, you would just be in such a rush to get out of there. The barber holds up the mirror and you're like, yeah, fine, that's great. Even though you think, fuck, that's too long on top, or he's messed that up, or that's not what I wanted. And you just go out and then you feel weaker afterwards because you haven't expressed yourself, you haven't said what you truly feel. And Jordan Peterson talks about this in his lectures, where he talks about say things which make you strong, don't say things which make you weak. And every time you wimp out, every time you don't say what you mean, and you go along with someone and you people please, it makes you weaker and weaker. It breaks down your self-esteem. And people pleasing is something that you're probably familiar with as a social anxiety sufferer, and you really have to learn to say no. So if that's not the haircut that you want, you say to the guy, no, take another 1/4 inch off the top, or can you tidy up the back, it's not really how I like it, or you know, shave it round here, whatever it is. And what I would say is, on your next haircut, even find something, even if he's giving you a great haircut or she's giving you a great haircut, just find something where you say, no, could you, you know, tidy up the sides or shave the temples a bit, or take a 1/4 inch off. You know, I'm not suggesting you get someone to, you know, unnecessarily shave a stripe down the middle of your head or something like that. Just find something where you get an opportunity to say, no, actually, could you do this, okay? And it will make you stronger and you will grow in confidence through that. Okay, that brings us on to the 8th and final tip, and this applies to barbers, the hairdressers, but much more widely in social anxiety generally, and that is, do not rehearse or pre-script what you want to say. I remember, you know, back in the day, I would be wanting to get out of the hairdresser so quickly, and I think as social anxiety sufferers, what we do is we're always fast forwarding ahead, you know, oh, what do I say next? Like, oh shit, the haircut is coming to an end. How am I gonna end it? How am I gonna pay? How am I gonna say goodbye? And your mind goes to all that stuff. And it's the same in restaurants or wherever, you know, the waitress is coming to collect the plate and you're like, what am I gonna say to say that was a nice meal, or how do I end things? And you're fast forwarding, and you've got to stop doing that. It's a really bad habit, and it makes your communication come out as inauthentic and clunky and awkward and scripted. So a key to overcoming social anxiety is staying in the moment, be more zen, keep your brain a more blank state and let things arise, whatever happens, you know, whatever they say, like, you have a great day, and you're like, yeah, you too. Rather than if you have a thing in your head, they're like, okay, see you next time, and then you like, you have a great day, you know, like, it doesn't match. So just try and keep it more in the moment and keep it genuine, but don't pre-script it. You know, I remember like when I would be leaving the barbers, I'd be like, shall I say thanks a lot guys, or see you later guys, take care, and then it comes out in a mess because you're like, see you care guys, you know, it just comes out as bullshit because it's all pre-scripted. So try and stay in the moment and be more genuine and authentic, and just let things arise naturally. That is all the points that I wanted to cover in this short video from Bali. Number one, don't avoid anything, don't avoid haircuts. Go out there and actually push yourself to do it. It's the only way to get over social anxiety, is pushing yourself through. The only way out is through, as Robert Frost, the poet, said. Number two, break the ice. But then number three, don't feel, you know, the responsibility to carry the whole thing. If silences come up, just try and be comfortable with them. Number four, use muscle relaxation if you do find yourself being tense. Number five, use breathing as well to get into your body and out of your head. Number six, try and make peace with the mirror and find stuff in yourself that you can find as a source of esteem and like about yourself. Number seven, say no and get the haircut that you want. And number eight, do not pre-script or rehearse. Keep it authentic and genuine. Be zen, stay in the moment, and let things arise naturally. Okay, that is all I wanted to cover. I'm off to go shopping now. I need to get some new board shorts. I'm surfing tomorrow. So I'll speak to you guys all very, very soon. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, check out the other videos. Please leave your comments below, and I'll speak to you all in the next one.